you can improve it in when you said you won't have to talk to each other anymore. We used to joke around about that. I've joked around about that a million times on this podcast, that one day in the future there's going to come a time where you can read each other's minds.
Yeah.
And
well,
you'll be able to interface with each other in some sort of a non-verbal, non-physical way where you will transfer data back and forth to each other without having to actually use your mouth and make noises.
Exactly. So when you, like, what happens when let's say you've got some complex idea that you're trying to convey to somebody else, and how do you do that? Well, your brain spends a lot of effort compressing a complex concept into words, and there's a lot of loss, information loss that occurs when compressing a complex concept into words. And then you say those words are then interpreted, then they're decompressed by the person who is listening, and they will at best get a very incomplete understanding of what you're trying to convey. It's very difficult to convey a complex concept with precision, because you've got compression, decompression. You may not even have heard all the words correctly, and so communication is difficult. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Cool Aunt Luke.
Yes, and there's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And there's an interpretation factor too. Like, you can choose to interpret certain series of words in different ways, and they're dependent upon tone, dependent upon social cues, even facial expressions, sarcasm. There's a lot of variables.
Sarcasm is difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I've said is like that there could be potentially a universal language that's created through computers that particularly young kids would pick up very quickly. Like, my kids do TikTok and all this jazz, and I don't know what they're doing. They just know how to do it, and they know how to do it really quickly. Like, they learn really quickly, and they show me how to edit things. And it's, if you taught a child from first grade on how to use some new universal language, I mean, essentially like a Rosetta Stone, and something that's done that interprets your thoughts, and you can convey your thoughts with no room for interpretation, with clear, very clear, where you know what a person's saying, and you can tell them what you're saying, and there's no need for noises, no need for mouth noises, no need for these sort of accepted ways that we've sort of evolved to make sounds that we all agree. We, through our cultural dictionary, and we agree, or certain, we could bypass all that.
Yeah, I mean, you can still do it for
fun,
sentimental reasons,
right? Like campfires.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need campfires. You don't need to roast marshmallows, but it's kind of fun.
Right.
I think you would, in principle, you would be able to communicate very quickly and with far more precision ideas. And language would, I'm not sure what would happen to language. But you could probably, in a situation like this, you would be able to just, it would be kind of like the Matrix. You want to speak a different language, no problem.
Right.
Just wire it, or just download the program.
Whew. Right. So, at least for the first few iterations, we'll just be able to use, like, I know that Google has some of their Pixel buds have the ability to interpret languages in real time. Like,
sure.
Yeah, you can hear it, and it'll play things back to you in whatever language you choose. So it'll be something along those lines.
Yeah.
For the first few iterations.
Well, the first few iterations are, I mean, what I'm talking about is like in the limit over time, with a lot of development. The first few iterations, really in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve brain injuries. So it's like, don't worry that it's not going to sneak up on you. This will take a while.
How many years before you don't have to talk?
If the development continues to accelerate, then maybe like 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
That's quick. That's really quick.
That's the best case scenario.
No talking anymore in 5 years.
Best case scenario. But 10 years more like it.